The peace of New Terra had always been fragile, but the humans living on the colony had never imagined the danger that was about to arrive. The stars above glittered like distant jewels, calm and beautiful, hiding the threat that loomed just beyond normal space. Without warning, enormous alien warships tore through the void, materializing out of hyperspace with terrifying speed. Their shapes were jagged and sharp, completely unlike any human design, and their hulls shimmered with strange energy. From the command tower, Colonel Marcus Kane watched in horror as the fleet descended on the colony, their weapons firing bolts of crackling energy that tore buildings apart and sent citizens running in every direction. Panic spread like wildfire, and the screams of children filled the air, echoing across streets now covered in smoke and fire. Marcus's heart pounded as he gripped the console, his mind racing. He knew immediately that this was no ordinary attack. The Galactic Council, which had always stood as a protector of peace in the galaxy, was behind this assault. Their forces had crossed a sacred line, violating the most fundamental law of all, the first law of the galaxy, which forbade harming human children under any circumstances. Marcus's communicator crackled as he tried to reach his team, but the static-filled messages only reminded him of the scale of the attack. Alien fighters had already begun sweeping through the city, rounding up children from their homes and schools, dragging them toward the massive mothership hovering ominously above the planet. Marcus's stomach turned as he realized that the Council, which humans had trusted for generations, had betrayed them in the cruelest way possible. Despite the fear gripping him, a surge of determination coursed through his veins. This was personal. Every human knew that the protection of children was not just a law, but a symbol of the bond that held humanity together. The ultimate reason why humans survived against impossible odds throughout history. Marcus ran through the corridors of the command center, barking orders to his officers, organizing emergency defenses, and coordinating evacuation routes wherever he could. Explosions shook the city, sending debris flying, and the smell of burning metal filled the air. Civilians scrambled for cover, parents clutched their children, and soldiers tried desperately to hold back the alien invaders. But the Council's forces were relentless, armed with technology far beyond anything the humans had seen. As Marcus directed the defense efforts, he couldn't help but feel both fear and pride. Fear for the innocent lives being threatened and pride in the human spirit that refused to yield, even in the face of overwhelming power. He knew that surviving this attack would require more than just courage. It would demand ingenuity, quick thinking, and a unity of purpose that humans had always shown in their darkest hours. The city burned around them, yet the flicker of resistance had already begun. Citizens who could fight picked up weapons, pilots scrambled to their ships, and a small, determined group of human defenders prepared to strike back against an enemy that believed humans were weak. Marcus clenched his fists, staring up at the massive alien mothership above, its shadow stretching across the city like a dark omen. He whispered to himself, "They've broken the first law, but they don't know what humans are capable of." In that moment, despite the chaos, despite the destruction, and despite the seemingly insurmountable odds, a spark of hope remained. The humans of New Terra would not go quietly. Their children would not be taken without a fight, and Marcus Kane, along with every brave soul willing to stand, was ready to do whatever it took to defend them. The battle had begun, and the story of humanity's courage and resilience was about to be written in fire, blood, and the unyielding spirit that refused to be broken, no matter how great the threat. Marcus Kane knew that staying on the defensive would not save the children, and he immediately began to organize a resistance. He gathered a small but elite team of humans, each trained to face impossible odds, each carrying a fierce determination that burned brighter than any fear. Among them was Lila Torres, a young pilot whose sharp mind and fast reflexes had earned her a reputation for daring maneuvers in past skirmishes. She had just seen her younger brother taken by the alien forces, and the pain in her eyes fueled her resolve. Together with engineers, tacticians, and soldiers, Marcus and Lila formed a strike team ready to do what no one else dared: infiltrate the enemy mothership, rescue the children, and escape alive. They knew the alien forces were vast, far outnumbering them, but humans had always thrived by using intelligence, creativity, and the ability to adapt in ways the enemy could never anticipate. The team raced to the hangar where New Terra's ships, battered but still functional, awaited them. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and the hum of engines filled the hangar with urgency. Every moment counted, because the longer the children remained in alien hands, the harder it would be to save them. As they prepared their ships, Marcus briefed the team, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We don't have the numbers, But we have what they can't match: our minds, our courage, and our refusal to leave any human behind. Lila tightened her grip on the controls of her fighter, feeling a mix of fear and determination. Around her, the hangar buzzed with activity as humans made final checks, armed themselves, and ran simulations in their heads of the mission ahead. Outside, the alien fleet continued to unleash destruction, forcing the human defenders to stay constantly on alert. Marcus's team moved out in small, fast ships, knowing that speed and precision were their best allies. Using stolen maps of the alien mothership, they charted a daring course, weaving through debris, dodging enemy patrols, and avoiding detection. Every maneuver required split-second decisions. Every choice could mean life or death. As they approached the massive alien vessel, tension gripped every pilot and soldier on board. The mothership's size was staggering, a floating fortress bristling with weapons and guarded by elite alien fighters. Marcus's mind raced through possibilities, calculating how they could reach the children without being destroyed. Lila felt her heart pound as they entered the mothership's outer defenses, skimming past turrets and energy barriers with skill and precision. She glanced at Marcus, who gave her a nod of reassurance, and she responded with a determined smile despite the fear gnawing at her. Inside the mothership, the team prepared to face the unknown. They expected alien guards, advanced security systems, and traps designed to kill intruders. But they also knew that the children's lives depended on their success. Every second counted as they navigated through dark corridors, their footsteps silent, their hearts pounding. Marcus thought of the first law of the galaxy, now shattered by the Council's betrayal, and it gave him even more reason to fight. Humans had always protected their young, and they would not allow this sacred duty to be violated. As they moved deeper into the ship, Marcus and Lila coordinated silently, using hand signals and quick gestures, understanding that communication had to be flawless in this dangerous environment. Every twist of a corridor, every shadow, every sound could be an alien waiting to strike. Despite the overwhelming odds, they pressed forward, knowing that their courage, ingenuity, and unbreakable will were their greatest weapons. The mission was not just about survival. It was about sending a message to the galaxy that humans would fight for their children, no matter how powerful the enemy. In that tense, high-stakes moment, Marcus Kane and his team embodied the spirit of humanity, resilient, clever, and fearless, ready to confront the impossible and reclaim what was theirs. Marcus Kane and his team moved silently through the dark corridors of the alien mothership, every step measured, every breath controlled, knowing that any mistake could cost them their lives and the lives of the children they were trying to save. The air inside the ship was cold and heavy with the hum of alien machinery, the walls lined with strange glowing symbols that pulsed like living veins. Lila Torres led the way through narrow passages, her fighter instincts guiding her as she checked every corner and listened for any hint of movement. The humans had come prepared, carrying devices designed to disable the containment fields and hack into alien systems. But the technology was far beyond anything they had faced before. Still, Marcus reminded them that ingenuity and quick thinking could overcome raw power, and the team pressed on with focus and determination. Finally, they reached the chamber where dozens of children were held, suspended in shimmering containment fields that hummed with energy. Fear and relief collided in Marcus's chest as he saw their pale faces, some wide-eyed, others trembling, but all alive. Lila immediately set to work, connecting her device to the alien control panel, watching as her interface flickered and adjusted to the alien codes. Sparks flew, and the containment field began to flicker, showing the first signs of failure. "Almost there," she whispered, her voice tight with tension. Marcus and the team kept watch, ready to defend against any alien guards that might arrive at any moment. Outside the chamber, the corridors were still alive with enemy activity, and the distant roar of explosions shook the ship. It was clear that the humans' presence had not gone unnoticed. Marcus signaled the team to prepare for a possible confrontation, knowing that the alien defenders were likely on high alert. In these tense moments, the true strength of humanity showed. Every human moved with precision, every decision was made in seconds, and every act demonstrated courage that no machine or alien strategy could predict. Marcus saw it in Lila's eyes, in the careful movements of the engineers, and in the determination of the soldiers who refused to hesitate. Finally, with a surge of energy from the devices and Marcus's final commands, the containment fields collapsed, releasing the children into safe zones. Relief washed over the humans, but there was no time to celebrate. The mothership was vast and escape would not be simple. Marcus directed the team to split into small groups, each guiding a portion of the children toward the escape pods located deep within the vessel. Lila took her group through service tunnels and maintenance shafts, bypassing heavily guarded corridors, using her knowledge of piloting and navigation to guide them safely. Every moment was a gamble. Every sound of alien patrols made their hearts race. As they approached the escape pods, the humans devised a clever plan to slow the alien forces. Marcus had studied the ship's systems and found a way to rig the engines to overload, creating diversions that would keep pursuing forces busy long enough for the children to escape. Lila and the others carried out the plan flawlessly, setting timers and activating systems that would later shake the mothership with controlled explosions. The children, though frightened, began to understand that these humans were not just rescuers. They were protectors who would risk everything to ensure their safety. In that moment, Marcus reflected on what had brought humanity this far: courage, adaptability, and the unbreakable instinct to protect the young. Even against enemies with far superior technology, humans had the advantage of heart and mind. As the escape pods launched into space, the humans watched from the shadows, knowing that this mission was only part of a larger struggle, but confident that they had made the first decisive move. The alien mothership would remember this day, and the humans had proven that no matter how powerful the threat, the courage and cleverness of humanity could never be underestimated. Every child safely out of the containment field was a victory, a symbol of human ingenuity, and proof that even in the darkest places of the galaxy, humans could shine brightly with determination and bravery. As the human strike team and the rescued children escaped the alien mothership, the true scale of the challenge became clear. Outside in the vastness of space, the alien fleet was waiting, their ships forming an almost impenetrable wall of firepower that stretched across the starfield. Lasers streaked through the void, tearing apart anything in their path, while massive cruisers unleashed missiles that lit the darkness with deadly trails. Marcus Kane took the helm of the command ship, coordinating his team with precision. Every human pilot knew that this was more than a rescue mission. It was a test of survival against overwhelming odds. Lila Torres led a squad of fast, maneuverable fighters, darting between asteroids and space debris, using the environment to their advantage. The humans had fewer numbers, fewer weapons, and less armor, but they had speed, strategy, and above all, courage. Each ship weaved in complex patterns, firing only when the shot would count, and using gravity slingshots and sudden directional changes to throw off the alien targeting systems. The aliens were skilled, but they had underestimated human adaptability, and that proved to be their weakness. Marcus directed the human ships to split into smaller groups, creating confusion and forcing the aliens to divide their fire. Engineers on board improvised, deploying makeshift electromagnetic pulses that temporarily disabled the enemy shields, giving human pilots opportunities to strike key targets. Amid the chaos, Lila performed daring maneuvers, swooping through tight formations of enemy fighters, dodging lasers with near-impossible precision, while covering escape paths for ships carrying children. Explosions lit the darkness, and the hum of engines and energy weapons created a deafening roar that echoed through the ships. On the command ship, Marcus monitored every movement, issuing orders and adjusting tactics in real time, relying on instinct and experience as much as technology. He could see the bravery in his team, the way every human pilot and soldier moved as if guided by a single purpose, a single resolve: protect the children at all costs. Even when a cruiser exploded nearby, sending debris flying in every direction, the humans pressed forward, refusing to break formation or let fear control them. Marcus knew that the humans' greatest advantage was not their weapons or ships, but their creativity under pressure, their willingness to take risks that the aliens would never consider. Every moment was a gamble, every maneuver a test of skill and nerve. The children, watching from the safety of their escape pods, could only see flashes of light and hear the distant echoes of battle, but even they sensed the courage and determination driving their rescuers. As the human ships pushed closer to the edge of the fleet, they began executing traps Marcus had said earlier, luring alien ships into ambushes, collapsing sections of space debris onto them, and using the environment as a weapon. Lila's squad drew the attention of several cruisers, weaving in and out of asteroid belts while other human fighters struck at weak points, turning the battle into a carefully coordinated dance of destruction. The aliens, despite their numbers, were confused and overwhelmed, unable to predict the humans' movements or counter their ingenuity. Marcus felt a surge of hope. Even in the cold, vast expanse of space, surrounded by superior enemies, humans had proven time and again that courage, intelligence, and the will to protect their own could turn the tide of battle. As lasers lit the darkness and explosions shook the void, it became clear. The humans were not merely surviving, they were dominating, outthinking, and outmaneuvering an enemy that had once seemed unstoppable. In the midst of the chaos, Marcus and Lila shared a brief glance, acknowledging that despite the danger, their combined skill, leadership, and unbreakable human spirit were guiding the children to safety. The battle raged on, each human move a testament to ingenuity, bravery, and the unyielding determination that defined their species. Even as the alien fleet pressed closer, the humans refused to give up. Their fight not only for survival, but for the very principle that had brought them this far, that no force in the galaxy could break the human spirit or take away what they held most sacred. The human fleet had battered its way through the alien forces, but the most dangerous challenge still lay ahead. The Galactic Council's flagship, a colossal vessel bristling with weapons and protected by elite guards, was the heart of the invasion. Marcus Kane knew that reaching it meant entering the most heavily defended part of enemy space, but there was no choice. The children's safety depended on it. He and his strike team carefully navigated their ships into the shadow of the massive flagship, using debris fields and damaged enemy vessels for cover. The air in the command ship crackled with tension as engineers monitored the shields and weapons, making adjustments to exploit weaknesses discovered during the earlier battles. Lila Torres led a small assault team aboard the flagship, piloting a stealth craft designed to avoid detection until the final moments. Every member of the team was hyper-focused, their hearts pounding with fear and determination. The corridors of the alien vessel were vast and cold, lined with unfamiliar technology that seemed almost alive, humming and glowing with energy. Alien guards, monstrous and relentless, patrolled these halls, and the humans knew that one misstep could trigger alarms that would doom them and the children. Yet Marcus and Lila pressed forward with a mix of strategy and courage. Using the knowledge of the ship's layout gained from stolen schematics, they navigated through service corridors, disabling security measures, and taking out isolated guards silently. Each success gave them hope and confidence, while every challenge tested their resolve and ingenuity. Finally, they reached the chamber where the children were held, confined in a high-energy containment field. Panic and relief washed over Marcus as he saw their frightened faces, some clinging to each other, but all alive. Lila immediately set to work, connecting her devices to the alien control systems, bypassing complex security protocols with a combination of skill and improvisation. Sparks flew, and the containment field began to falter, signaling the imminent freedom of the children. But the council commander, a towering figure with eyes cold and calculating, appeared at the doorway, blocking their path with an aura of authority and menace. Marcus stepped forward, unflinching, knowing that this confrontation would decide the fate of the children and possibly the battle itself. "The first law exists for a reason," Marcus said, his voice steady, carrying the weight of humanity's defiance. The commander sneered, underestimating the humans, believing their numbers and primitive technology would never overcome the might of the flagship. Yet Marcus and his team moved with precision, using their knowledge of the ship's systems to set traps, collapse structural supports, and disable weapons while simultaneously engaging the alien guards in close combat. Lila coordinated with pilots outside to provide cover, striking critical points on the ship's hull and systems to prevent reinforcements from arriving. The fight was brutal, intense, and unrelenting, but human ingenuity and courage proved superior to brute strength alone. With a final, well-executed sequence, the containment fields collapsed completely and the children were freed. Escape pods were launched, carrying the young ones to safety while the human team covered their exit. The council commander, realizing that the battle was lost, was forced to retreat with the remnants of his forces, leaving the humans victorious. Marcus and Lila, exhausted but resolute, watched as the children drifted safely away from the flagship, their mission accomplished. The battle had been won not just with weapons, but with the cleverness, determination, and unbreakable will that defined humanity. Even in the heart of enemy territory, surrounded by superior technology and overwhelming forces, the humans had proven that courage, intelligence, and the drive to protect their own could triumph against any obstacle. The victory was a testament to their spirit, a signal to the galaxy that humans could not be underestimated, and a promise that the children of New Terra would grow up in a universe that had been forever reminded of the strength of the human heart. With the children safely aboard escape pods and the Galactic Council's forces retreating into the dark reaches of space, Marcus Kane and the human fleet began the slow process of regrouping and assessing the damage. The battlefield was littered with wreckage from both sides, shattered alien cruisers, smoking human fighters, and debris that glowed faintly in the void, reminders of the ferocity of the conflict they had survived. Despite the exhaustion, the mood among the humans was one of cautious relief and quiet pride, for they had faced what seemed impossible and emerged victorious. Marcus walked through the command deck, checking on his crew, offering words of encouragement and acknowledging the bravery he saw in every face. Lila Torres stood nearby, holding her younger brother tightly, tears running down her cheeks as she whispered words of comfort. The children were safe, but the memories of fear, separation, and loss lingered. Marcus understood that their survival was more than a mission accomplished. It was a testament to the unbreakable spirit of humanity, a signal to the galaxy that humans would fight with every ounce of strength to protect their young, no matter the odds. Across New Terra, civilians emerged from shelters, cautiously stepping into streets scarred by fire and explosions. Yet their eyes reflected hope and resilience. The planet had been tested, and though it bore wounds, it had not been broken. As the fleet repaired damaged ships and accounted for missing or injured crew, Marcus reflected on the journey they had endured. The Galactic Council had defied the first law, breaking a sacred principle that had governed the galaxy for centuries. Yet in doing so, they had underestimated the ingenuity, courage, and determination of humans. Every maneuver, every calculated risk, and every act of bravery during the battle had reminded the galaxy that humans were not a species to be taken lightly. Lila and Marcus gathered the children together, explaining that their bravery and trust in the humans had helped save them, reinforcing the bond that made humanity so strong. The team shared stories, comforted frightened children, and began the slow process of healing emotional wounds alongside the physical ones. The sky above New Terra was still streaked with the remnants of the conflict, glowing flashes from distant explosions serving as a reminder of what had been endured. Yet in those same skies, the rising sun hinted at a new beginning. Marcus addressed the remaining crew, emphasizing that while the battle was won, vigilance was necessary, for the galaxy had seen the courage of humans and would remember it. Even though the Council's flagship had escaped, the message was clear. Humans would not yield, humans would not cower, and humans would always protect their own. The victory had come at a cost, with lives lost and ships destroyed, but the children were alive, and the principle that the first law represented had been defended by those who understood its value. As repairs continued, families were reunited, and the survivors of the battle reflected on the courage it took to stand against overwhelming odds. Lila held her brother close, whispering that they had survived because humans never gave up, never surrendered hope, and never underestimated their own potential. Marcus looked out into the vastness of space, knowing that the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary, the resilience of a species that could take what seemed impossible and turn it into victory through intelligence, courage, and heart. In the aftermath, New Terra began rebuilding, stronger and wiser than before. The story of the humans who had defied a galactic empire, rescued their children, and emerged victorious spread across the stars, a legend that would remind all civilizations that humans were not merely survivors. They were a force defined by ingenuity, determination, and an unbreakable will to protect what mattered most. In the end, the first law had been challenged, but humanity had endured, leaving an indelible mark on the galaxy and a powerful lesson. No matter the threat, the courage of humans would always shine, and the children of the stars would always be defended.